Guys, welcome to my new video, and today we'll be talking about Holy Paladin, and basically this is going to be a call to action type of video. Now, I wasn't going to do a video after I did my previous best corruption thing where Cushing Wounds got nerfed, but it's still relatively decent. I wasn't going to do a video because quite frankly I'm not feeling all that well and I was gonna take a little break, but this is a very time sensitive information that if you're watching this video, you have around 2 days. You have around 2 days to do this. And to do what exactly? Get 3 rank 1 Ineffable Truth. So right now, if you're watching this video, there is Corruption Vendor available and Ineffable Truth rank 1, and we'll talk about the differences in rank. We'll talk about how to use Ineffable Truth. Should you stack Ineffable Truth in raids? Should you get it in Mythic Plus? How do you optimize it? Can I cleanse current items? Can I apply new corruptions to them? What's that priority I'm using in 5-man in raids? We'll talk about all of this. But this is what I want you to do, or I highly advise you to do it. Don't miss out on this. Get a minimum of 3 rank 1s. This means you will get 90% cooldown reduction. And this is probably going to be enough for you to use in Mythic Plus and in raids. And it's gonna change your Holy Paladin in so many awesome ways you don't even know yet. If you're watching this in a couple of weeks or whatever, and the vendor is not available, I want you to know the Ineffable Truth rank 1 is the best corruption to get for Holy Paladin. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the corruption vendor, it's rotating twice per week. So basically there is 6 corruptions available right now out of like 60 or 50 corruptions that are there, which means that it's possible that the next time you're going to see Ineffable Truth rank 1 available is going to be in around 4.5 weeks. That's the cycle. So if you don't do it in the next couple of days, you might not be able to do it for the next 4.5 weeks. That's why this is a call to action video. Now, there's a chance that next week you might get Ineffable Truth rank 2. But rank 2, look at this. So this is the thing. This is why I urge people to do it. The way that rank 1 and rank 2 for Ineffable Truth is made is really, really weird. No other corruption really has this. So look at this. Ineffable Truth rank 1 gives you 30% cooldown reduction for 12 corruption. So rank 2, you would assume rank 2 would give you 60 cooldown reduction for 24 corruption, right? But it's not. Rank 2 gives you only 50 corruption or 50 cooldown reduction for 30 corruption. So it's really inefficient compared to rank 1. Rank 1 is the most efficient corruption to get for Holy Paladin. And it's available right now. It's available right now. Get at least 3. Get at least 3. At least 3. Now, if you don't get any of these, or if the corruption vendor is not available, rank 2 is still a very solid choice, but it's not rank 1. So let's go to the reasons. How do you get these? In order to buy these, you need to get 3,300 Echoes of Nyalotha. How do you get Echoes of Nyalotha? Now, there's multiple ways of getting it. If you're one of the, I want to say lucky people, because I'm not going to put skill attached to this. If you did not have all of the essences prior, you're collecting Echoes of Nyalotha on all the characters. I was doing that. All of my characters have Echoes of Nyalotha collected, so I had around 10,000, which is enough for me to buy 3. I bought about 6 Ineffable Truths, but we'll talk about that later on. So, if you have Echoes of Nyalotha, good. If you don't, do Horrific Visions. This is by far the best way of getting it. You will get 750 Echoes of Nyalotha per full clear. This does not have to have any masks. You just need to do a full clear. Now, I advise you, if you can, to do 5 masks because you will collect extra corrupted mementos to get socket gear, and because you get Ineffable Truth, you might be applying Ineffable Truth on new pieces of gear which does not have sockets. So I was just running 5 masks, 5 masks, 5 masks. I was able to do it 5 times this week, so I got a good chunk of Echoes of Nyalotha. Now, Major Assault is going to give you 625, Minor Assault 375. Emissaries, do all the quests you can right now, really, really important. Raid bosses give you 75 to 125. Now, this is not 100% correct because I was doing Mythic N'Zoth and Mythic Carapace and they were giving me over 125. So keep this in mind per boss. Looking for raid, I still don't. Looking for raid, 1 wing is going to give you 125. I'm not sure if that's worth it. Random BG wins give you. And Mythic Plus Dungeon. So this is spammable content if you enjoy PvE. you get 15 per keystone level. So if you do a 15 dungeon, you get 225. So if you're able to get plus 15s, you can spam it. Or actually, I'm not even certain what is the best cutoff point. You might even want to do like below 10s if you can do them really, really fast for 4 Echoes on Iota. This is spammable content in case you need it. I highly advise you, if you don't have any of them, to try and get 10,000. 10,000 is going to be really, really, really hard to get it in the next couple of days in order to buy 3 rank 1 Ineffable Truths. Really, really hard. So let's go into the reasons why Ineffable Truth is so goddamn good. So this is my Holy Paladin right now. I've spent hours trying to kind of sim it and see what kind of Ineffable Truths I want, and do I stack it, do I use it for 5 months, do I use it for raids, and I've experimented with my raid gear. Now, what type of gear do you want to apply your Ineffable Truth on? This is the type of gear you want to apply it on. Anything with leech on it, anything with high item level. Now, but the problem with this is that I cleansed this item like last week, so I can't apply new corruptions on it. If you cleanse an item today or yesterday when the patch was launched or when the reset happened, depending on what continent you're in, you're still able to apply new corruption even if you cleanse an item. For example, I've gotten this weapon from Carapace. I didn't cleanse it. I got this a week ago. I cleansed it today and I was able to apply Ineffable Truth with a socket on it. So that's how it works. But generally speaking, anything with leech, if you're doing raid content, that if you have leech on an item, not leech corruption, leech, this is going to be insanely strong. And why is leech so good? Why do I need to apply leech on all of my gear? This is some of my logs from yesterday where I was able to do 4 and 5 Ineffable Truths and to see how much healing I can do. This is some of my leech. So for Carapace, is not really a rot type of fight, and leech was giving me a value of 3.8, which is pretty decent for a free stat if you're lucky. Now, my mythic Azeroth kill leech was being valued at 7.58, so 7 times greater than intellect, with the fact that I was running a character that had around 8.5 leech already. So this is a heavy leech character, and leech is already still being valued at an extreme lens. Now, if I go to a mythic Reden, again, I was getting a value of 6. So you can see that leech, to some extent, is double the value of your next best stat, like haste. Possibly. So if you get a piece with leech on it, it automatically becomes one of the best items to apply your Ineffable Truth. And you can see this in my gearing options. I have 460 gloves with leech on them, and I apply the Ineffable Truth, even though there is a lot of glove pieces that I have in my current gear setup, like 475s with sockets, 475s. I got this like yesterday. Even though these have sockets, even though these are higher item level, this leech piece is still going to outweigh them, especially if I put a socket into it. So that's why if you have any leech gear, high item level leech gear, this is going to be a prime candidate for Ineffable Truth. Now, how much Ineffable Truth do you need in raid situation? I'm talking about raid first. This is all raid. I don't know. Minimum 3. This is why I say, for raids and Mythic Plus, having 3 rank 1s or 90% cooldown reduction, or if you're watching this video in the future, 80% is the minimum. If you have that, that's an amazing start, and you can stick with that. I've been testing my raid setup. I've been running with 5 Ineffable Truths. I've been running with 4 Ineffable Truths and things like that. And honestly, it really depends. I'm not sure. I think this is going to be a debate for the ages. How much Ineffable Truth is going to be enough. There are people running 200 cooldown reduction. There are people running 250 cooldown reduction. I feel my sweet spot is somewhere around 150, 120. Around that mark. But that's completely field crafting. That's why I say just get 3 for the bare minimum entry requirement for Ineffable Truth. So this is my gear set for raiding. I have Void Ritual and Honed Mind rank 3 as well. To some extent, you can also apply Expedient. I would like to apply Expedient here as well, because Ineffable Truth past the first 3 ranks loses a lot of value, but it's still really, really strong. But what does it do? Once it procs, your cooldowns are going to be reduced. So what happens once it procs? You need to make sure that your Holy Avenger wings or a Master is going to be a lot harder to deal with, but you need to make sure these abilities are on cooldown. Or if Ineffable Truth procs and you have your Wings and Holy Avenger available, you might start thinking about using your Holy Avenger and Wings, because once you pop them cooldowns with Ineffable Truth active, not only this is going to reduce your cooldown on those cooldowns, but also there's a fun fact. And this is what makes my Holy Paladin, or revives my Holy Paladin. If you have Wings active, if you have Ineffable Truth active, if you have a lot of Ineffable Truths, this is why I feel people might stack Ineffable Truth in raids. You're going to be able to do Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Holy Shock without using Crusader Strike. So why is that important? And I'm going to include, or what are the chances of getting Wings and Ineffable Truth to proc at the same time? This happened to me all the time in my last raid, all of the time. And I want to pick out an example, Rathian. This procced during the phase where I needed to run out and there was AoE damage happening. I was not able to hit the boss, but because my Wings and Ineffable Truth procced, I was a ranged healer for the first time in BfA. I was a ranged healer and I was able to just Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Holy Shock without having to use Crusader Strike. And this happened to me throughout the whole night. You need a high amount of Ineffable Truths and haste to really optimize this, because there is a small waiting time between Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Holy Shock based on what Ineffable Truth you have based on haste. So I feel people might see this playstyle and they might think about stacking more Ineffables to make this a more seamless transition into Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Holy Shock. But I feel like if you don't really want to have a seamless Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Holy Shock type of playstyle, you are more than safe with running 3 Ineffable Truths for this given point in raids. You can test out 5 or 6 or whatever. Honestly, right now I'm running with 5. This is my gear with 5 Ineffable Truths. I also have a leech gear, Holy Paladin leech, and this is gonna have 11% leech on it. I'm running with 4 Ineffable Truths. I have Void Ritual and I have Racing Pulse. I feel like after Ineffable Truth, you have options like the Haste proc, Mastery proc, Void Ritual is still very solid. You have things like Expedient. If you have over a certain amount of haste, if you have a lot of haste, all of a sudden that stat becomes a lot better if you get things like Expedient. So I would like to get Expedient to try it out, but honestly, I don't have enough Echoes Annihilated to really get it. So that's raid setup for the time being. Mythic Plus, what do I do with Mythic Plus? How much do I need? And I've tested out a lot of different things in terms of meming it, in terms of running with 6 and things like that. The fact is, if you really want to meme, you can only get 9 rank 1 Ineffable Truths, because there's only 9 slots that you can apply corruption to. So if you really want to meme, if you have Echoes Annihilated to an extreme amount, you can get 9 and really test it out. But generally speaking, I feel this is a solid setup, and this is what I'll probably be using for my Holy Paladin in Mythic Plus. Now, my stats are not great. I can get rid of a lot of Mastery, I can get rid of a lot of Haste and add more Critical Strike. But don't look at my stats right now, look at my corruptions, and this is what I feel is good enough. Again, I'm running 3 Ineffable Truths. That's the bare minimum. 3 rank 1s. That's the bare minimum to use at this given point in raids and Mythic Plus. If there's one thing you're gonna take out of this video, get 3 Ineffable Truths. Don't miss out on this. Do it in the next couple of days. Start farming Echoes Annihilated. I apologize for the video quality. I want to push this out as soon as possible. So 3 Ineffable Truths. Then I feel like you want to go DPS. So either Twilight Devastation or things like Severe is still very good. Severe Strike True is still very good. So 3 Ineffables, Twilight Devastation. Now I could consider running Gushing Wounds. Even after the nerf, Gushing Wounds is still a solid choice. The reason why I'm running Twilight Devastation does not require high item level. It doesn't scale on item level. So this Twilight Devastation could be a low item level piece and I could still use it without losing too much DPS. Now Gushing Wounds scales on item level, but I was strongly considering running Gushing Wounds on this juicy 485 weapon, one of the highest item level pieces in the game. I was strongly considering putting Gushing Wounds, and I might still apply Gushing Wounds to this weapon when Gushing Wounds is available for purchase, because it's extremely high item level. Gushing Wounds is still very solid choice, so I'll think about this. But generally speaking, I feel 3 Ineffable Truths, I feel Twilight Devastation. If you want to do healing, Severe is still very strong. Try and stack more crit. I need more crit. But that's what I mean. I don't think stacking Ineffable to an extreme amount is the play right now, at least in Mythic Plus. In raids, I honestly feel 3 is the minimum, but you can go a bit further down to get more Ineffable Truths. So when you're Ineffable procs with wings, you can do that holy shock, holy shock, holy shock, holy shock type of play, and it's going to be a lot more seamless because of the cooldown reduction you get from like Sanctified Wrath from your Ineffable Truths and things like that. Because believe me, when that happens, it's one of the most fun things that I've seen, and I hope Blizzard is not going to nerf it. But it's one of the most fun things that I experienced in a very, very long time as a Holy Paladin. It is so overpowered, your Holy Shocks feel so good. I was able to squeeze in on some fights with Ineffable Truth. I was able to get multiple Holy Shocks and wings, or sorry, Holy Avengers and wings. I was able... Now, there is a downside to this. I'm talking about all the positivity, and I want to cover the downside really, really quickly. There is a chance that you might have your Holy Avenger and wings assigned at a certain stage. You need to use, for example, raid leader tells you need to use it at 2 minutes or a minute and a half or whatever. This becomes really, really troublesome because with Ineffable Truth proc, you kind of want to use this at all times. Because if Ineffable Truth procs, you want your Holy Avenger and wings to be on cooldown, or you might consider using your cooldowns when Ineffable procs, because it will still reduce your cooldowns afterwards. So all of a sudden, healing assignments with Ineffable Truth become a lot harder to deal with. And sometimes you might even feel like you're forced to pop your cooldowns because Ineffable proc. So keep this in mind. If you're progressing boss and you have a hard assignment on your cooldowns, this can cause problems. The upside, you will have a much higher uptime of wings, and if your wings proc during a bad stage where there's no healing needed, you can go for DPS. So at the end of the day, this is an extremely good corruption. Get it at least 3 ranks. Thank you for watching this video. I'm sorry, I am feeling a little bit sick. So, and I'm trying to put out this video as soon as possible. So the video editing is going to be minimal because you have 2 days, guys. Something around that line, because Corruption Vendor rotates twice per week based on the minor assaults. Go and farm your Ineffable Truths. Thank you, guys. If you like the content, please do subscribe, and I'll see you in my next guide.